I'm going to show you how I've taken some photos using the fall colors in late September in the mountains of northern Washington state. I am at Picture Lake, which is about a 2-hour drive from Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, and maybe about 2 hours from Seattle, Washington. And this is in the Mount Baker National Forest. And Picture Lake is well known for reflections of Mount Shuksan that reflect off the water, and hence the name Picture Lake. It's a gorgeous place. So follow me and I will show you how I've taken the pictures from this location and why fall colors are just the perfect type of photography for landscapes. So what's cool about this place is that it's so close to the road. In some ways, we don't even deserve to be here without having to have hiked a really long way. I just parked the car right over there. I've taken about 20 steps, and then right around the corner is the shooting spot. Completely not fair, but so awesome. So I was concerned that the fall colors wouldn't be out yet because it's still, what's the date today? The 24th of September. And I see reds, greens, yellows. This place is blooming in fall colors. It looks absolutely fantastic. I couldn't be happier, and I'm pretty sure if we get good reflections off the lake, if the wind stays calm, then we're gonna get awesome photos of the mountain in the background. This is such landscape awesomeness. So right in the middle of this boardwalk is actually one of the best places to shoot because the top of the mountain that is reflected almost hits the shoreline but doesn't cross that line of the shoreline. You always have to be cognizant of what your reflections are going to look like and if anything is going to interrupt your reflections. I always use a wired trigger, a wired shutter remote, put that on, and then this way I don't have to touch the camera when I'm actually taking the photo. So I'm actually changing lenses now and putting on more of a wide angle lens. I'm putting on a 24 millimeter. That way I can hopefully capture most of the scene. And because the sun is just coming everywhere, I'm gonna make sure I put on this lens hood. And don't forget to level out the ball head. So rule number one, I've just arrived and I want to avoid any sad mistakes that I'll discover when I get home and look at the photos on my computer. So the first thing, zero the camera. I go into manual mode and I make sure that the ISO is where I want it to be. I want the lowest number, and for me that's ISO 64. I'm shooting with f11, so I have a lot of depth of field, but not too much on that aperture tightening because it introduces a noise factor when you go over, let's say, f13. I've got the remote trigger connected. I'm using autofocus at this point, and my focus point is going to be on the nearest shoreline, and I'm going to check out how that works. I think that should give me enough focus all the way through the shot. Let's take the first photo and just quickly check the histogram because it's all about the histogram. So there's the first photo taken. It looks maybe a bit bright, but now I look at the histogram and I can see that it's bunched up over on the right-hand side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, I've gone 4 stops. So it's at 1/25th of a second. Take the picture, look at the histogram, and now I'm where I want to be. So unfortunately the wind just came up and it caused a ripple on the lake, and this is the age-old problem for landscape photographers, that the wind is often the enemy of reflections. So now I just wait. I'm just going to sit and wait and have patience and hope that the wind will die down and we'll get that flat, smooth, glassy water and get the reflections back. So the wind just finally died down again, and I was able to get another couple of shots with some really nice reflection. And it just shows that the patience pays off. In landscape photography, you can't just expect to show up and nail a 10 out of 10 photo. You have to wait, especially if reflections are involved, because the wind is just the reflection killer. So let's take another one. So I see some cool compositions on the other side of the lake. So I'm going to try and get those with the zoom lens and zoom right into 200. So let's go into live view and just take a look at the shoreline there. That's a little bit of an abstract type photo with those reflections there. So look at the surface of the water now. The wind has died down and it's given us the glassy, perfectly smooth mirror image that looks so awesome in photos. It's the perfect reflection. It couldn't be better. Love it. Absolutely love it. So here's the thing with landscape photography. There's so many people who think that you need the best gear or you need to be an absolute expert in post-processing using Lightroom and Photoshop. And really, it's so much less about that than being at the right place at the right time and working on your composition and your storytelling with your landscape photos. So I try whenever possible to travel and go on these types of trips when the weather is such that I'm going to get the best photos, or when the seasons are such. This is the fall, this is late September, and now all the leaves are turning into the fall colors, which makes the most incredible photos. It's more about being at the right place at the right time with the right composition than it is about your gear or your post-processing. You've got to get out there and shoot at a time like this when the foliage looks like this. So I see a really cool shot with the leading line of this pathway. Let's try and grab that. No question about it, the fall is the most beautiful time for landscape photography. And what's kind of interesting is that the colors in the mountains when you're at higher elevation, like 5,000 feet, 6,000 feet, 2,000 meters, the colors turn 2 weeks, 3 weeks before the rest of the world at the lower elevations. So it gives more variety over time to be able to go out and shoot the fall colors. Get the high elevations really early, and then the lower elevations are later into October. So if you enjoyed this video and found value from it, please give it a thumbs up. Please leave a comment. Here's the question of the day. Where do you shoot your fall color photography? Do you have any trips planned? Do you do things differently than I do? And if you like this type of landscape photography video, then please give this channel a subscribe by hitting the red button, and also hit the little bell button beside it. That way you'll be notified whenever I have a new video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.